What is going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at obviously XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as Litecoin. What I'm starting to notice, which is quite interesting in regards to the Bitcoin and XRP pattern, is we're actually now forming a new resistance and new support barrier. Obviously, the high-low middle moving average is going to start acting as our resistance, but we're also finding a new support line to be added in with Bitcoin. This ultimately does set a couple of interesting moves. Ultimately, we are setting up for what appears to be a new bull market forming. Maybe we're also just waiting on one confirmation left in regards to me probably buying long and holding on for the long term if this support does hold and if we do break the trend and break the pattern. Otherwise, I do want to show you guys Litecoin and Ethereum because I do believe those are quite powerful in regards to how they can help determine where exactly Bitcoin and XRP are going to go. We also know that XRP is still consolidating within its massive resistance descending triangle. It did just recently hit a support, but for the most part, we are currently just consolidating outwards. Otherwise, yeah, we're pretty much going to discuss where exactly we could potentially be headed in regards to price. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and I'll see you right after this. So guys, we're here on my YouTube channel. You can see yesterday's video, we made a video in regards to that we could be seeing XRP and Bitcoin correct lower or continue to head down in regards to the next couple of days. We do have some very interesting price action that I do just want to jump into. Now, in regards to the current market cap, you can see what was interesting today is we do have a market that's fairly up. We have coins that are up about 2 to 3% across the board, except for obviously Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin Cash, which seem to have some sort of similarities in regards to its price. You can see very similar price action, very similar movements. Everything else does have a slight uptrend. I mean, even Litecoin is up 8%, which is pretty interesting, but markets are seemingly swinging back up after the massive correction down to the downside or down lower. Now, I know a lot of other YouTubers and a lot of people are kind of becoming bearish in regards to the fact that we did just have our massive leap and bound that shot us up about, I would say, honestly 20% on Bitcoin, but we are starting to see that consolidation pattern now. So obviously a few key things to point out on Bitcoin that should be fairly obvious is in regards to the fact that we do still have higher lows forming, and that's honestly the one pattern we need to break in order to confirm a bigger bullish rally. Ultimately, setting this new bull market would mean that we need to break the pattern. The pattern happens to be these higher lows every single time. It happens almost about every month, and you can see that may be the month of January. That could be the ultimate high for January, and now we can just continue to head lower. It seems to happen every single month. We have a new high, and then ultimately we start to correct back down and head to lower lows. That's ultimately what we're going to see. The only difference in regards to changing movements is in the fact that we set a higher low just a couple of days ago. This could be the biggest key factor right here. You can see that we've had this support base basically since the beginning of the year of 2019, and we closed this right about here in regards to the fact that this uptrend happened. You can see right at the start of 2020, we seem to have a bullish reaction, a bullish move to the upside, but you can see it does fairly look similar to what we've seen previously in mid of 2019, with the prices seemingly shooting back upwards before consolidating back down. Yes, there is a general pattern to be noticed, which is a bearish fractal right here, and we're merely testing whether or not we can break through that. It's nice to see that we had a couple pump fakes. You can see where we showed that we were looking like we were going to break bearish outside and break resistance right here, basically confirming this pattern over this pattern, which is the uptrend right here. We were going to confirm the downtrend. What is interesting is we managed to break this, setting these higher lows forming right here, or these lower high, or these higher lows, is in regards to the fact that if we can continue to move upwards, then we would ultimately be starting a new bull market out of the bearish trends, and we could honestly set some new highs for 2020, which is going to be awesome. It merely just responds and reacts to what exactly we're going to have right now. It's merely whether or not we're going to see the pattern be broken or we're going to continue to fall lower. Ultimately, what I'm expecting to see, which is where the price is just movement along what we're doing right now, consolidation back down until we retest this support line. The support that we've been using since 2020 or since the beginning of 2019. Ultimately, prices move up and down every day, eventually hitting here. We're either going to see one of two things. We're going to retest this and set a new higher low right here and then head back upwards, creating a new high. Or what we're going to see is a higher low, which would ultimately end up breaking the pattern, and then we will continue the bear market lower. It's really all coming down to that specific event, and if we can see the confirmation where we set a new higher low, and then we decide to move upwards, set a new trend like this will ultimately be higher than the previous low. So you can see right here the previous high, and that would ultimately spike the pattern and the charts to start heading up higher. Ultimately, we need to set a price above here. So honestly, what we would look for that would most likely set a new bull market is the patterns coming down, retesting here, setting a new higher low, and then eventually spiraling back up, closing here, and then we could maybe head down like this. Ultimately, what this is going to do is confirm a previous high that is higher than the last one, and then we could see the break in the pattern, because you'll see that we start heading down, we break this, and we start to head up right here, and then ultimately we would be continuing to use this uptrend to head into higher prices, which is honestly a great thing. It's now that we're just waiting on the confirmation of this uptrend right here, which would then ultimately set the pattern. So honestly, I am still fairly bearish short term on the market, maybe not as bearish as I was falling back down to 5,000, which I know to some was kind of nerve-wracking, but we may still go there. That's still in play, but for right now, what I'm waiting for is I have a strong support now. This clearly shows strong support, and that's what I'm going to be using as my key primary targets. So honestly, a pull back down to 7,500 looks ideal from the 8,050 price that we're at right now. So honestly, a short position heading back down to here would be great. The second we retest here, I would set a buy order, expecting to, explode up once again, maybe setting that new high higher than the previous one, and then we could expect to see the price move up and up and up. But it's merely just a waiting game as to whether or not we do decide to retest here and then immediately break up. If we fall lower than the price of 6,900, then we'll ultimately showing that we're still in a bear market. So it's very interesting to see this reversal happen. This was a clear reversal heading back upwards, and if we can see right now a price fall below $6,900, we're ultimately still in that bear market, and we're honestly then almost going to confirm that we pull back down even lower to maybe the $5,500 to $5,000 range. Now to look at the other cryptocurrencies, XRP and Ethereum as well as Litecoin show something very similar in regards to where we could be seeing Bitcoin move to. Maybe Bitcoin is still in what I do believe could be another big bearish fractal. We still have to consider that this could be like this. We could easily move this up to here and consider this to be the bear market that we're in. This could be the bearish fractal, and we are ultimately still just trending on the uptrend here, because as you guys can see with Ethereum has yet to break its white resistance. Ethereum is still entrapped in what appears to be a massive bear market, and the previous movements that we've had, the slight rally upwards, has merely just hit resistance once again and could ultimately spiral back down to 125, and this immediate pullback would also happen within Bitcoin. And then if we see a confirmation below this, that would ultimately set us up for correcting lower. So ultimately, it's merely just finding and adjusting the charts to find the best price. Obviously, I had it more sandwiched, but we still did have resistances being retested, and just a quick and small little fix in regards to where these prices are. You can see now it shows that we're hitting these candle wicks, and we're ultimately still within what appears to be a resistance. Obviously, we can open this up to the weekly to get a better look. The only thing that's odd with the weekly is in regards to the fact that we have more wicks than we do resistances. More or less like this is where that price seems to show, but ultimately we have more wicks than resistances, which is why it doesn't seem to be as familiar as what appears to be on the daily. The daily looks a lot more like this, when the weekly looks to be a lot lower, but ultimately we still could be in with what appears to be a bearish fractal, and we could ultimately be consolidating back down into the point end of January and then confirming either the bull run up, which would ultimately break this resistance, the high-low MMA, or we would collapse lower. You can see the last time we got sandwiched in between the high-low MMA and the uptrend, we ultimately broke an extremely bullish volume up. So, you know, if history repeats itself, if we can continue to get sandwiched in between right here, we could see that break again. And you can see that pattern does look like it might happen again. You saw we broke above, and then it seems like we're now back below it, and we're getting once again sandwiched in between the high-low MMA and this bottom support. And if it acts bullish, we could see that massive rally take into May of 2020, that bullish, halving that we could see come May, or that we will see come May. We'll see how that reacts with the market. But honestly, with Ethereum's bearish fractal right here, it looks like we're still headed lower. Same thing goes with Litecoin, and same thing with XRP being once again within its resistance. It does look to get sandwiched here, and we could break bearish. But honestly, this all depends on what Bitcoin wants to do. So we'll see whether or not it can break the high-low MMA. That would ultimately be the most bullish sign in regards to a reversal and a head to the new uptrend. Obviously, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.